Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift? We've got you. Guitar? Coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel! Guitar. Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party? Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to get on with the next game when you have a game that you don't play, that the other team pounds you, beats you, like we got beaten by Western Michigan. And so it's kind of been one of those weeks where this is one of those games where they beat you about every which way they could beat you, and it happens sometimes, and you have to move on forward from that, find silver lining, and go from there. And so that's kind of what we've done. Our players have responded well. They know that there's hadn't been a lot of finger pointing going on when offensively we got shut down, defensively we couldn't stop them. I thought kicking game where I think they did a great job. It just we weren't able to utilize that as to an asset, to an advantage for us. But anyway, you kind of move forward and you start to find silver linings in where you are. You're 4-3 right now, and because other teams in our division did the same thing we did as far as wins and losses, we're sitting at the same spot we have been. And we've got to focus on the opportunities that are still out there. And so when the players see that and they see the opportunities they have, I mean, we were sitting, 3-5 last year. At this time, we're 4-3, and so our players know the opportunity. All of our goals are still out there. We got a very tough Ball State team who's playing very, very well. They've got a new coaching staff that seems to have rallied that team in such a great way because they had a tough season. I think they've already won more games than they won last year, I think. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now. And so our players are anxious to get back on the field. We know we've got a tough battle. In every game we've got, it's a tough battle, but we are excited about moving forward and going after Ball State and trying to reach that next step against another division, another MAC opponent.
Mm-hmm. I know it's one game at a time,
Mm-hmm.
but it would seem with 2 consecutive road trips that you've reached a critical point in your season, possibly.
I guess, I mean, I don't, because every game is a critical point. I don't know at what point was it critical. I guess if last year, when we lost to Central Michigan to go 3-5, I guess that was a critical point. But yet we went out and won the next 4 games after that. Like I say, every game's important. I don't think I'm going to try to put the world. I don't think I would dare put that kind of burden on our team to say this is the critical point in our season, that everything's going to go bad if something goes wrong, or everything's going to be good if something goes right. We've got Ball State. We've got to play a great football game to beat them, and that's what we're focusing on right now, and to go from there.
You mentioned the silver lining. Can you pinpoint 1 or 2 once you looked at the tape and everything and broke down all the grades? Can you give us a couple in your mind?
The punter did a great job. Punter did a great job. He put a couple of punts right back inside the 2. I wish he'd have kicked it shorter because they were good at their Western Michigan was having a great day on 95 and 98-yard drives, so we put them back where they were most effective on the goal line. But no, I'm trying again to put this to get our kids focused. But that was, I mean, we really they scored first drive, we go 3 and out. They score the next drive, it's 14. We go 3 and out. They score the next drive, it's 21. We miss a 4th and 1, it's 27-0, and it's just 1 minute into the second quarter. And with their kind of football team, you can say what you want to about, well, we've got the rest of the kid, but you put yourself now in a hole so badly. They came out ready to play. They did a great job. We couldn't contain them, and it was on both sides of the ball. Who's to say that wouldn't have happened against other teams if we didn't come out and score a bunch of points? We have been able to come out and score. Take Marshall. We're down 21-7, and they're about to drive again. Dante Moore hits the quarterback. He fumbles. We pick it up, run for a touchdown. It's 21-14. We throw about 30 more points on the board in that quarter, and it changes the whole game. Western Michigan's too good of a football team to allow that to happen. And so it was the punter did a great job. And if you want to say, what does that mean? Well, in games where we're actually in the ball game, that could make the difference in a football game. He's done that several times. I've been very, very impressed with his ability, Nick Gasser's ability to pin people back with his kicking game.
Because of the necessity, because of injury, and also there's some good players on the defense that have stepped up. It's Kamara has stepped up,
Mhm.
John Lako has stepped up, and even Alvin Davis stepped up on Saturday. Can you talk about that?
Well, that's what you need to happen. Again, it didn't. I mean, it was much easier to talk about it in a positive way when you beat Kent State or you beat Miami with some of these guys, and when you lose by that many, you say, well, who stepped up? Well, Alvin Davis does. He shows big as a true freshman safety. Zach Geiser got hurt and had to come out, and so he was able to go in there. He's been playing a good bit in a dime or nickel situation. John Lako, walk-on, got his first start and made 13 tackles, in the game. And unfortunately, they were 5 or 6 yards past the line of scrimmage when it got to him. But it shows where he was, how active he was, and what a good job he's done. Camaro is another guy that had to play a lot and did a good job. And we've had to have guys like that step up. And so I was awful proud of every one of those guys.
Past 2 games, you scored 13 points.
Past
2 games.
13.
What do you have to do to jumpstart the
We had 35.
We had 35 against Miami.
Oh,
Yeah.
I read something wrong.
Yeah.
He gave up 13.
Yeah, we gave up 13.
That was my number.
Yeah, we gave up 13. No, we got to hope we don't. We hope we don't line up with Western Michigan again this week. We better play a lot better. I have to give them credit. They played great football. We did not play. We played kind of right in their hands with what we were dealing with and what type of situation we were going through. By them getting up so fast, they could mix their defense to us. They could take chances. They gave us a lot of problems on both sides of the football.
As you look at Ball State, you haven't seen him in a couple of years, of course, Mike News is their new head coach. Did they change much of the offense, or is it typical MAC offense?
Well, so much about this, that they run the football. They want to run the football, and they're going to run the football, and we have struggled to stop the run. So that's going to be a key to the game. Is that we lost, not so much this year. This should go back to who we had playing last year, and so we've got to stop their running game, and that's the number one thing they're going to do. They can throw it, but they're first going to run it, and until we show we can stop the run, that's going to be a huge factor. And defensively, they're a top half defense. I call them top half. There's 5 or 6 teams on the top half of the conference and 5 or 6 on the bottom half. They're a top half defense. They're in that top half statistically, and they they give up about 150 yards rushing and not too much passing, and they're very good. He's done a good job of getting this team back on a winning course, and we're fighting right now. We're fighting to take last year's record and move forward. And so I think the running game, can we stop their running game? And can our offense, like you said, we didn't score a single point. Can we get back offensively and produce some points and put some points on the board?
I know defense is Chuck's side of the ball. Have you looked at any footage of James Gilbert at all?
Great, yes, they're very good. Well, that's why they run the ball so well. They've got the number 1 rusher in the conference playing for them, and the quarterback keeps some too. So they do the great job of taking that back and featuring him. And he's a hard one to stop. We've got to shut him. We've got to slow him down. We've got to slow him down again. That's going to be a group effort for our team. First downs really hurt us last week. In that they were Western Michigan was always in a 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. By winning first downs and running the football, it puts the defense really playing behind the chains or behind the offense, one step behind. And so stopping Gilbert and slowing down their running game is going to be a factor.
So during the course of that game, you're having obviously trouble stopping Western. At the same time, you had a lot of guys coming out. So you're trying to mix and match and figure out what to do on the fly there.
Yeah, like I say, we never found a match that could slow them down. We never could. We knew the middle of the game. If you look up, they had 4 straight drives where they didn't score, and so but they're up 27-0. You don't know how much they're just trying to control that clock and playing a little bit closer to the vest. But we did find they scored the last 2 drives, but in the middle of the field, our defense did play a little bit better. Offensively, we moved the ball, but we had too many mistakes, turnovers, and 0, I think, explosive plays, 0 big plays, which our offense has depended on a lot. You know, to help us move our offense along, and so. Again, like I said, we have guys that now know they've got to step up and do the job and find a way to make plays, and that's kind of what college football is all about. Guys, if somebody goes down, somebody else steps up.
So, early on, I think it's 7-0.
Yeah.
DeAndre makes an interception. He gets overturned. Not going to ask you about that. But what's the procedure? Does every team take plays that they question whatever and send them to the league office, or what goes on there?
Yeah, and let me say this: there were about 4 reviewed plays. I think we won a couple. They won a couple. I mean, we had ball intercepted that they took away from them. They had one. We had 2 of them we intercepted. They took away from us. So those things can work for you against you. And usually you don't have to burn a timeout. You walk over there and you say, I'm going to burn this timeout. But they'll say, don't do it. We're going to eventually, if it's tight, they're going to review it. They review almost every play. And then we go back if we don't like the, JoJo Natson made a big catch on the sideline that was bobbled. But when you look, you understand what the official what call he was making. And a guy has great control of it. But then when he hits the ground, it bobbles at the hit of the ground. Most officials will interpret that as it's not a catch. No matter if you take 2 steps as you're falling out, when you hit the ground, you better hold on. And so it looked like he was changing hands with the ball, and reviewed that one. And that was early enough in the game. It's hard to look at a game like that and pick out one play. They say, well, this one was the difference in the game. Right. So you really don't do that as much, except as we all do. Our conference has a policy. When we disagree with a call, we don't talk about it, a particular call in the press. Right. We have a review system where we review their calls. They get back with us and let us know if they agree. And they will tell us if they think we made a mistake. We made a mistake, or we don't think we made a mistake.
That was my question. The chop block, those are such dangerous plays. Right? They got a 15-yard penalty for the one.
Yeah,
they don't do it on purpose.
No, they only got one, so I doubt seriously, they chop blocked on purpose, and I think everybody knows what those look like, and I don't think that was intentional at all. And so anyway, again, penalties were. We had 7 for 40, they had like 4 for 40, and it ended up being yardage-wise about the same, and we had several that we hopefully will eliminate. As we get better. We had only 1 penalty the week before, and 41 yards in penalties is not a lot of penalties, but there were 7 little things that you have to correct.
Coach, you've seen some of the better teams in the Mid-American Conference since you've been on league. How would you compare this Western Michigan team to some of the best you've seen in the past?
Well, they beat us. We hadn't been. Well, they beat us pretty bad. We've played some good teams. Western Michigan is right now playing as good as anybody in our better than anybody in our conference probably. But are they better than Northern Illinois under Jordan Leach? Are they better than Kent State that first year we were here with that defense that just found a way to dominate like they did? Are they better than Bowling Green last year that just put the numbers on everybody, including Western Michigan? So they clearly are a fine football team, and they have. And they play with a lot of confidence, and so. But we've had some good teams in this conference, and like I said, we just know they played much better than we did last Saturday. I know that much.
Is this incident with the order been overblown?
I'm not.
I shake my head.
I was not, and it's almost unfortunate. I'm not totally aware of it. The players broke an oar before the game. Our players have always had a 2x4, and they get in this circle, and our players break with a sledgehammer. Since your blue collar go to work, they break a 2x4 every week with a sledgehammer, and usually the record that we want to break is on there. That previous record to what our record is now. my understanding is that they broke an oar because their motto slogan is row the boat. I didn't know they were going to do that, but I'm thinking if that's what. Then somebody said they burned it, but I don't think anybody burned an oar. But anyway, regardless, I didn't. It's our home field. I wouldn't think it would be done disrespectfully to anybody. I wouldn't want them to do something. I would say try to find, when you get beat 41-0, try not to have too many gimmicks, as players. If it doesn't help you any more than that, I would debate whether you do it or not. But I got a feeling it seems to be awful blown out. Everybody has a home tradition of things that they do. But I didn't know it was an oar they broke. As opposed to a 2x4, but I would think playing a team that their slogan is "row the boat." I think that'd be like teams that beat my dad when he was at Florida State would walk around doing the tomahawk chop or do it, and things that's just part of that. So I really don't. I hope no one was offended by it, and but I don't think anybody did anything disrespectful to anybody. I don't think I'd want to go on somebody else's field and stomp on their logo in the middle of the field. I wouldn't want to do something disrespectful at an away field. But everybody has their own game traditions, and so I don't. Like I say, maybe too much about nothing.
Any other questions? Thank you all.